Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're regular here, you know I review many photographic, audio and video related products. Well, today we're taking a look at another Fuji lens, and it is the Fujifilm XF 35mm f2 WR lens, and I've been practicing that all morning because all these manufacturers have so many letters and numbers after the lens you get really confused as to what's what. So it's a 35mm lens on an X mount body. Now all the Fuji X mount bodies are APS-C, so they're crop sensor bodies, so you have to times it by 1.5 to get your full frame equivalent. So it's equivalent to your 50mm, the nifty 50s, used for many different sort of purposes, from landscapes to short portraits to all sorts of things. And many people do buy a 50mm lens as their first lens that they go out using, practicing with and what have you. And it's a great lens because the aesthetics of a 50mm lens is really nice. You don't get those bendy lines that you get with a wide angle lens, and you don't get the same compression as you get with a telephoto lens. So it's a very natural looking aesthetic, and I really like the 50mm look, and that's why I bought the 50mm lens. I call it a 50mm lens even though it is actually a 35mm lens. It's got your aperture ring around the body of the lens, which is wonderful. That's pretty traditional for virtually all the Fuji lenses. All the XF lenses, as far as I'm aware, do have the aperture ring, and I think that's where the XF comes from. The XC lenses, which are the cheaper lenses, optically still very good, but they don't have the aperture ring around the lens. But if you do want to control the aperture from the camera body, just put it into A on the actual lens, and then you can control the aperture from the camera body, which I'll show you in just a moment. So that is great. It's a kind of a squashed looking design because it goes out and then sort of squashes in. A funky little screw-on lens hood. I assume that is the lens hood that came with the lens when it was new, because I bought this lens second hand, but it does fit it nicely, and I assume that is the right lens hood for it. A little nifty lens hood. The WR means it's weather resistant, so it's got a weather sealing gasket on the mount. I can't actually see it, but there is apparently a weather sealing gasket on the mount there, and very, very nicely made. Very nice focus ring. It is focused by wire, so you're not going to get the same point every time you move it. So rack focusing is going to be very difficult, as it is on virtually all the modern lenses. But construction is beautiful, as all Fuji lenses are. I believe they are anyway. Even the cheaper XC lenses are still nicely made. They're all plastic or more plastic. This isn't. This is sort of plastic and metal, but it's a really, really nice construction. And only 170 grams. So you leave it in your kit bag. It's not going to take up any weight. It's not going to cause you any hassle, and it's great. You can even, if you've got two X mount bodies, leave it permanently on one of them. I'll go through some of the images, some test shots I've taken with this lens. Now I've been using it on my Fujifilm XS10, which is this camera here. Great body, my favourite travel camera. It really is. I love this camera. I love the grip. And even though the grip it's a really big grip, my fingers do slide underneath, but that doesn't bother me. It's just a lovely weight and a lovely camera. At the moment, I've got the 14mm lens fitted to it. My favourite wide angle lens, beautifully pin sharp lens. This lens has got the clutch for manual focus and autofocus. I'll leave up here somewhere a link to the review of the Fujifilm XF 14mm lens, because it is a really nice lens. But let's put on the 56mm. See, these two lenses complement themselves so well, because they are both really, really compact lenses and small lenses to put in your kit bag. So, if you only ever just want two lenses for your X mount bodies, these are the two lenses to get. And they're really great value for money. I mean, they do a f1.4 35mm lens, but that's not something that I would want to bother buying. I'm sure it's an excellent lens. I've never reviewed it or played with it, so I don't know. But all this kit that I use, I purchase. I don't get it sent to me by the manufacturers. I use it, so I'm speaking from my honest, feelings about the kit, because I've actually paid for it. I haven't been sent it for free, Now on the XS10, isn't that sexy? Isn't that just absolutely gorgeous? Not that the looks are of any interest really, to be honest, because it's all about the results. We know the X-Trans sensors and the Fujis are very good. There's a 26 megapixel one in the XS10, same as in the XS4, not XS4, XT4. So you're pretty assured of getting, you know, damn stonking results, and it doesn't disappoint. You know, it really doesn't disappoint. But it's really compact on this body, because the body's so compact. And as I say, it's got the ring that goes around, the aperture ring that goes around the body of the lens. But if, like with the XS10, you want to put it into automatic, then you can use the aperture ring or the control dial on the front or the back of the camera. Depends on how you've personally set it up. So you can use that or the back control dial if you want to do so. So very, very configurable. And you know, I tend to use the aperture ring because I just like to be able to, when I got it up to my eye, turn the aperture ring, and it works great. So beautiful sharp lens, nice construction. As I said earlier, only 170 grams, so there is absolutely, taking that out and about, you're going to get no fatigue at the end of the day whatsoever. Great lens. Now, as far as image quality is concerned, which to be fair is what we all want to see, isn't it? Is how good is the image quality, be it for video or be it for stills. Now, I'm going to do a separate video on its video quality because I haven't actually done any filming with this particular lenses yet. One of the reasons I purchased it was to use in the studio here, because I'm very limited in space as to what sort of lenses I can use to get the nice results I'm looking for. I mean, at the moment I'm filming with me two Sony A7Cs and I've got my GH5 Mark II over there. So I've got one A7C with the 85mm lens on, that's getting the close-up shot. Then I've got the other A7C with a 35mm Sony FE 35mm 1.8 lens just there. Then I've got my you know, I've got so many cameras I get confused. The Panasonic GH5 Mark II with a Sigma 16mm lens just there, and then the close-up shots are being picked up by my trusty little ZV-1 just there. So that pretty much answers that. But in the studio here, it is tight, and you can see the 35mm on the Sony A7C gives a nice wide shot, but I wanted something a bit tighter. So I've got my 85mm, but that's really quite tight and it's quite far away. So I'm thinking this 35mm lens, because it is a 50mm lens, it's going to give a nice compression, not quite the same compression as the 85, but certainly a nice compression, and you're not going to get bendy lines. You know, it should be really nice for video. And the fact it goes as wide as f2, I should get some nice bokeh in the background. So the separation would be really nice. Probably not as nice as I'll get on the full frame 85. I wouldn't be on the full frame 85mm, but it's still going to be a really nice separation. And I like a bit of separation from the person talking to the background. But I do like people to be able to see the background. You know, it's a balancing act, isn't it? Getting it just right so it looks nice. And also it's all about lighting as well. I mean, I just stick a couple of lights on and bounce one off the ceiling. I don't spend a lot of time on lighting. I'm a bit lazy from that point of view. I know a lot of YouTubers spend so much time, and quite rightly, they produce some fantastic content, you know, and the studio environment looks beautiful. As long as mine looks nice, I don't spend too much time on lighting. Now, if we look at some of these images, now I've got them loaded in Capture One. I use various software. Capture One is great for me, works really well. But if we just look at, let's have a look at a couple of Sammy. People do like to look at images of the cats. So we'll look at little Sam. Now, that's, you know, a fairly wide, well, it is a wide shot of a cat, but when you look at a close-up shot, once a computer loads the image, look how sharp that is. And do you not see, I mean, look at his whiskers and his eyes, beautifully sharp. It is a shame the XS10 or the XT3 doesn't have animal eye detect. I love my G9 for its animal eye detect. It's gorgeous. With the Fujis, you have to work just that little bit harder to get the eye pin sharp. But it does it, and it does do it. And, you know, it's gorgeous image. I love the colours that come off the Fuji X-S10. It's really, really nice colours. The sensor in it is wonderful. It's going to be the same as you'd get off the X-T4 and the other Fuji cameras, but it's the sharpness and clarity of this lens. And also the bokeh, if you look at the bokeh on there, it's beautiful, but the actual flower is really, really sharp. Oh, wouldn't be if I did zoom in that close, will it? You know, we've got all sorts of you know, sharpness is gorgeous. On this computer, I have to wait a few seconds for it to actually snap in. It's certainly quicker in Capture One than it is in Lightroom. I find the computer, you know, it's quite a bit slower in Lightroom. I don't know why that is. It could be my computer. Well, it probably is my computer. But again, the colours, that rose, you know, gorgeous colours. I'm just really loving the feel that this lens creates. It's got a lovely texture to it, a very natural film look. It's not digital look, it's a very film look. And I don't know if that's a combination of the sensor, the lens, what it is, but you know, it's great. There's no bending lines, and it's the sharpness is lovely across the whole frame. But when you got it at f2, obviously you won't see the sharpness in the corners because it's not designed to do that. The sharpness is what you actually got the focus point on. But yeah, great little lens. And as I say, it is very, very compact. It's not a particularly exciting lens to look at. It's got no buttons. It's got no like autofocus, manual focus switch. It isn't image stabilized. So you are reliant on either a camera body that has got image stabilization in the body, such as the Fuji X-S10, or keep your shutter speeds a bit higher if you're using it on something like the Fuji X-T3, because there is no image stabilization in the lens. But other than that, I mean, it's fantastic value for money. You know, you can't expect everything at the price that this lens is, you know, and great value as a second-hand lens. So yeah, I can highly recommend this lens. I can also highly recommend the software that I'm using. One lovely thing about Capture One is that you can go into this sort of wheel thing, this 3 circle thing here, which is like the white balance settings, and you can go into curve, and then if you're using a Fujifilm camera, you can choose one of Fujifilm's profiles, whether it be Eterna, whether it be monochrome, Astia, Acros, you know, whatever it might be. And you can just pre-select that in Capture One, straight into it. And I think I really do like that. And it's a great bit of software. Obviously with Capture One, same as with Lightroom, you've got all your presets you can load in. It's got your library, so you can create albums. There's loads and loads of things that it can do. It's a little bit more expensive than Lightroom, but I think it's really, really powerful. And they do 2 options. You can either purchase it outright, unlike Lightroom, you have to subscribe, or you can have a subscription model. And it's great. They're both fantastic. And I've got a viewer offer at the moment for all my viewers. But if you download the trial version, there'll be a link in the description to download the trial version. And then if you do decide you want to buy it, certainly play with it first. If you do decide you want to buy it, put the code AVP10 in when you check out, and you get 10% off your purchase price, whether it be your subscription model or whether it be the outright purchase model. I think that's a great offer and well worth looking at. So that's Capture One. I also recommend other bits of software, such as Luminar. Luminar 4 is also an awesome bit of software. Really great value as well. It's about 60, 70 quid, depending on the time of year when you buy it. So there we go. That's a quick look at the Fujifilm XF 35mm f2 WR lens. There'll be a link in the description below to where you can purchase the lens from. There'll be an Amazon affiliate link, so use that if you do want to purchase the lens. I earn a few pennies, but you don't pay any more. And Fuji have Amazon have a fantastic returns policy, so I can highly recommend Amazon. And you'll also find a link to download the trial versions of these 2 bits of software. So there we go. Hope you enjoy the channel. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so, and hit the like button if you like the content of my videos. I really appreciate people subscribing. It helps me grow the channel, and the algorithm, YouTube's algorithm, really does like the subscriptions. So thanks very much indeed. I do read every comment as well, actually. I might not reply to everyone, but I do read every comment that people leave. So thanks very much for making comments, and thanks very much for subscribing. So, and thanks very much for watching this video. So there we go. Cheers for now, bye.